Russell wants to put his family back together, but his ex, Stephanie, says he's abusive to her and their children. And to make matters worse, Stephanie's sisters, Nicole and Bridget, believe Russell is responsible for the deaths of their children.
Yo, that's crazy.
You see, on February 23rd, 2005, a fire broke out in the apartment where they all were living. Russell was the only adult home, and tragically, Bridget's son and Nicole's 2 children were killed. Take a look.
Firefighters from 8 different departments, mostly volunteers, answered the call that came just after midnight. But the blaze that burned in this old second-story apartment on Milroy's Main Street proved too big a battle. With children trapped inside, heavy smoke, intense heat, and a structurally unsound building doomed efforts from the start.
Wow.
By late Wednesday morning, rescue efforts turned to recovery of the remains of 3 young victims.
I couldn't imagine that being me.
6 firefighters made their way back into the building, burned so badly officials say it's difficult to determine where the blaze started. It took more than 2 hours to recover those lost. Now investigators search for a cause.
2 hours?
Heat
Oh
so
my
intense,
God.
investigators say it melted a steel support beam. The 27-year-old mother saved 3 children, including one of her own, 4-year-old. Her 2-year-old son died, along with her nephews, 6-year-old Jacob and 2-year-old Joshua.
God, dude. This is a crazy-ass story,
I believe
bro.
Russell is a murderer. I believe he left our babies to die, so therefore he is a baby killer.
Wow. Y'all know we do this every episode. Drop them comments right now. Do you think Russell intentionally did this, or do you think he was scared? I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't know what to believe. It's just such a serious thing. I don't want to cast blame, you know, but let's go.
I just stood there and I heard a fireman. He hollered at me. He's like, Bridget, are you in there? And I said, yeah. He said, you got to come out. And I said, no, I got to get my babies out of here. And he said, you got to get out of there.
She tried to get back in to get them, but she tried to kill herself to do it. And
I would have did the
my
same
nephew
thing.
hadn't made it out, but he was in pretty bad shape.
They took him to the hospital. They had to cut him from his chest to his belly button.
Oh my
They had to pull all of his intestines out because he was so hot he was ready to combust.
Russell had to walk by our kids twice to get to his kids, to get them out.
Damn.
And how he could walk by them and not try to wake them up or, you know, try to get them out in some way. My oldest son was old enough, he could have helped.
My son had also told me that night that he tried to tell me that he made it outside by himself. And I told him, I said, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. You had help. And he's like, no, Mommy, I went down the stairs, but I couldn't get the door open. So I went back in. And I tried to save my brother, but it was too heavy, and I fell on my butt twice. My son was more of a man than this man was.
Damn, that gotta
Not a
hurt.
minute goes by I don't think about my kids. I still celebrate their birthdays.
I gotta spend
In order
this
to do that, I
episode.
usually send a balloon up in the air to tell them happy birthday. It's not the same, you know? Russell and Stephanie were lucky enough to have their children survive. And now he's treating them like they're dirt under his feet.
Russell is a monster. I have heard him call his kids little bastards. I have seen him hit them. I've seen him knock his youngest one down. I've seen him bloody his other son's lip.
A week ago, there was an incident where he had kicked my nephew and left a huge bruise. They have pictures and everything to prove that.
Wow.
I just wish that Stephanie would listen to her sisters because we love her. And I know she can do better, and her kids deserve better.
Stephanie, you have your family behind you. We need you to leave him alone. Just get away from him. We will help you with anything you need. Your kids deserve a better life than that, and so do you.
I need the closure. I need the truth, and I need my sister to hear the truth because she wasn't there, and she has taken every word that he says to her that he really tried, and he didn't. All I've ever asked is please tell me what happened while I was not there, and he can't tell me.
I want to know, did Russell do everything in his power to get my kids out and my sister's kids out? And I want to know, is my sister done with him for good?
I have Nicole and Bridget here, and first of all, I want to say how sorry I am that you lost children in this horrific tragedy. You lost 2 children. You lost one, and you saved one. And you went into the fire, which had to be an incredibly physically hard thing to do, and you suffered burns, I understand?
Yeah. I actually went in twice. My fuse had blew on my water heater, so I didn't have hot water. And all the kids were laying in the same room, probably like this area right here. And I told Russell, I said, watch the kids, I'm going to run down to the neighbors and I'm going to take a shower. I said, give me 15 minutes. So I went down and I took my shower. I was getting dressed. I walked over to get my shoes and I heard this horrible banging on the door. And so I went over and I answered it. And it was him standing there with two of his kids in his arms. And he said the house is on fire and the kids are in there. Then I heard this horrible banging on the door. And so I went over and I answered it. And it was him standing there with two of his kids in his arms. And he said the house is on fire and the kids are in there. So I took
So
off.
he has his two children, while your four are still in there.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And he
That's
had
crazy,
to, in order to
man.
get his children out, he had to walk by our children twice. Once to get to them and once to get out of the apartment.
Wow.
And he didn't try to wake them up, didn't kick them, nothing, just left them.
How old were your children?
My oldest was 6 and my youngest was 2.
Ah,
And
man.
how old? You lost one child. How old was that child?
2 years and 2 months old.
And you saved the 2-month-old?
He was 3 years old.
You saved the 3-year-old. But your sister then stays with this guy.
To even stay with a guy that you would even think that could leave a child in a burning building like that is just morbid and just sick.
It hurts. It makes me more hurt than angry at her. It's like, how could you?
So you want some answers from Russell. How about the fact that you say that he's lucky enough to have his children live through this and then turn around and abuse them?
Yes, he should feel blessed. He gets to keep hearing daddy and he gets to have grandbabies, and that's something that was taken away from me.
All right. We're going to bring Russell out. Let's bring Russell out.
I gotta hear Russell's explanation. I have to know. Ooh.
I didn't murder your kids, man. I took care of your kids when you guys went
You
away.
murdered them. You took care of them. Congratulations. You left them sick.
Door off the hinges.
Why did you shut the door? The doors were shut.
I kicked the neighbor's door off the
I kicked the door off.
You went to take a shower. You went to take a shower,
No, you
right?
shut the door.
What you
I
You went to take a shower, right? It's
I was
fire
there
hours.
for freaking 20 minutes, Russell.
He was
You know
on
what?
the
Find out
phone
today.
when
You
I
will
said-
find out today.
Yeah, we will
We
when
will.
the polygraph comes back.
That's right. I'm ready
for it. I'm ready for it.
I have a
Let's
question.
do this.
I do have a question to ask.
I'm ready.
You were left in charge of how many kids?
There was my 2 and their kids. There was
6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their kids.
You were able to get your 2 children out.
right,
You run and you go get her, right?
right.
She then manages to go back to the apartment and save one of her children.
Well, see, it was all a bunch of lies.
Is that a lie, that what I just said?
Yeah,
What
I
happened?
woke up to this burning fire.
What is a lie? She was able to save one of her children, right?
Exactly.
So what is a lie?
But I didn't run to get her. I didn't even know there was anybody in the fire when it broke out.
You didn't know our kids were there too?
You were supposed to be there at like 10 or 11 to get your
It don't
kids.
matter. I was there, and I told you 15 minutes, Russell. Give
Well, I
me
went to
15
bed.
minutes.
What am I supposed to wake
You
up
was
to?
sitting up watching TV, dumbass.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell
What
him.
time of day was this?
This was at night.
What time?
Like 9, 10
Until
o'clock.
midnight, because I looked before I walked out the door.
You know, when I worked, I was...
You didn't realize you were the only
You didn't
adult
work.
in an apartment with 6 kids?
Yeah, I know I was, but she was...
So I'm asking, listen, I'm not going to judge you because I don't know all the circumstances.
Right.
How were you only able to save 2 children and not the other 4?
Right.
I woke up and I grabbed my kids out of there. I ran to the back door because there was one.
Why wouldn't you grab the other 4?
I started yelling through the house and nobody answered me.
But the little kids at midnight, they're going to be sleeping.
That's what I'm saying.
But what I'm trying to say is that she was supposed to done been at the show.
It don't
But the
matter.
point is, you know that she's not. You know there's a fire. You know there's 4 other kids in there. You know they're little tiny kids that at
I
midnight
didn't
most
realize
kids.
she hadn't been there to get her kids
What
yet.
about Bridget's kids? Okay, you want to throw that? All right, that's fine. What about her kids?
I started yelling for people in the house.
You had
know?
to walk by every one of our kids, Russell, twice to get yours.
You wasn't there. You don't know what
I
went
know
on.
where they were sleeping.
I'm the one that was there.
I know where they were sleeping because they were
You're right.
sleeping
You
when
were
I
the one that
Yeah,
was there.
yeah, I was the
We
one
left
there.
them in your care.
We'll see when this polygraph comes back.
My son, at 3 years old, told me, and out of your own mouth you said, I heard one of the kids hollering, help me, Uncle Russell. Right?
When I was going out the back
Right.
door.
That was my
That's
son.
why the neighbor's
No,
door in.
That was my son.
That's
and you
why I kicked the
tripped
neighbor's
and woke
door
up.
in.
That was my son.
No,
You tripped
I
and
didn't
woke up.
trip
That's
over
why he
nobody.
lived.
You
I
did,
didn't
you
trip
did
over
hear somebody
nobody.
say, help me, Uncle
Yeah,
Russell?
because it was at the there was
was
only
my
one
son,
entrance
you
into this
tripped him up.
building.
Wow.
And
And
so when
he
you heard
ignored
a
that?
child calling for you, what did you do?
I ran down the steps and took my daughter. The neighbor only lived like 20 feet from us.
Sorry,
His
you're
front
shut
door.
back
Okay,
doors.
I want to hear him answer this. I want to hear him.
You're crazy.
Just answer the question. So you hear your nephew calling for you, and you did what?
I ran down the steps with my 2-month-old baby girl and took my son down there, kicked the neighbor's door in, which was 20 feet from
Okay,
the house.
right.
And said, the house is on fire, the house is on fire. And they took off like a bullet, him and her. You know?
Why didn't you go back up and get
I
him?
was going back up, but I was right behind, matter of fact. And he told me, don't. Go next door and get help. So I went across the street and was kicking their door in,
Liar,
literally.
liar,
And it's
liar.
in the report, too.
Baby killer, you're a liar.
Whatever.
Everything you have just said is a
Whatever. It
lie.
ain't no damn lie.
Now,
Yeah, it is.
you're
No,
also
it ain't.
you're also here because, fortunately, your children made it through this fire.
Right.
But now you're being accused of abusing them.
I don't
Are you
use my
abusing your
kids,
children?
no.
Yeah, you do. You didn't bust your older son's
Steve.
mouth.
What?
Yeah,
Are you-
I did.
are you-
I busted
Okay,
his
is that
mouth.
not abuse?
He stood up and called me a son of a bitch, Steve.
Because you let him cuss and you let him
I
talk to
busted
you like
his
that.
mouth. Heck yeah, I did.
You punched him in the mouth?
I didn't punch him. I smacked him in his mouth and
And made
started
his lip
bleeding.
bleed.
And
You
how,
split his
how
lip.
old is he?
He's 10 years old.
What?
Split his lip, made his nose bleed.
What kind-
Why'd you shut the doors behind you?
I didn't
Why'd
shut the
you-
doors.
I kicked him in.
Nobody.
Oh, you did.
You felt like you did everything you could.
Yes, I did.
Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask everybody to clear the stage, and I'm going to talk to Stephanie, and then we'll get to these results.
Man,
Let's bring
Russell
out
could have
Stephanie.
saved that little boy, man. That's how I feel.
How you doing, Stephanie?
I'm all right.
What's disturbing in this story, and it's getting like just going over and over in my head, is the nephew calling out to Russell,
Right.
Uncle Russell, help me. And he didn't turn around and go back and get the voice, the little boy. He just continued down the stairs. And the little boy hoping that, please, somebody help me. Do you think he's responsible for the deaths?
I don't.
Even though maybe nobody's at fault, there's hard feelings here.
Right.
People are like, hey, your kids are alive, my kids are dead. And these are your sisters.
I had a burnout trying to get him out, but I wasn't there.
You've stayed with Russell.
I have, and I admit to it. I was an idiot for it. I've dealt with a lot of things. I mean, we've been together for 13 years. We got 4 kids together.
Does Russell abuse your kids?
He has, yes.
And, okay, and let's say Russell did everything he could, or everything that he was capable of during that fire. Let's put that aside. But you have this miracle that you were able to save your children, and then you abuse them. Why in the world would he do that?
I ask him the same thing, and I don't know. I don't understand it.
Why do you stay with them?
I really don't know. I try to hope he's going to change, but it just,
You hope he's going to change.
I try to, but it don't work.
What kind of abuse does he do to the kids?
A week ago, I had laid down with a migraine. And my 5-year-old comes to me and says, Mommy, why didn't you help me when Daddy kicked me in the leg?
Wow.
And I said,
This is a 5-year-old.
yes. And I said, well, what is going on? Russell said, well, he was messing with the pumpkins. I told him to stop. He didn't do it. So I spanked him.
Halloween pumpkins, right?
Right.
Russell kicked your son in the leg because he was
Yes.
playing with Halloween pumpkins.
That's crazy,
Yes.
bro. Let the kid be
And
a
a
kid.
month before
Did
that.
you call the police?
Yes, I did. So I left. I asked him, I said, can you take me and my kids to the jail until a family member comes and gets us? Yeah, sure. So me and my kids left, and we're with my aunt now.
Are you not with Russell?
No,
You don't live together?
no,
She's
He wants
taking
you back.
necessary
Right.
steps.
And your response to that is?
no, because he's never going to change. He calls the kids names. I mean,
He calls her kids. Let's bring your sisters back up.
Russell is a piece of work, huh?
Stephanie, I would give my life for you and them kids. You know it. I about did for ours. I'd give anything to have you and the kids with us.
That we're behind you no matter what. We're here to help you. We just wanted to have answers. Can you understand that?
Oh, I know.
Okay.
We don't want to happen to your kids.
Okay. Yes, we don't want that to happen to your kids.
It ain't no more.
Good. So you're done with it? You're never going back, right?
No,
Never.
I told you guys that. When you said it.
Good job.
Let's bring out Russell.
Stephanie, what's going on? This is crazy, man.
Sorry.
You know everything that's went on. What?
Okay.
I know, but
You know what? I have a question to ask. Why did you kick a 5-year-old boy in the leg?
I didn't kick him. And
She's
that's-
saying she's
I
saying you
didn't.
did.
She was asleep.
Oh, so she's lying?
Yep.
Your boy's lying?
I did not kick
That's
him.
crazy.
Your boy's lying.
I nudged him with my foot.
You
After-
nudged him with
After
your
I
foot.
busted his ass, yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I
You know,
did.
I can't
Why
even
do you talk to him the way you
do
do?
you call your kids?
I have, yeah. When they piss
Hold
me-
on. I see, and I get mad at my kids too. I would never, in a million years, call my children names. Why wouldn't I do that? Because they're my children. And it's up to me to raise them, to guide them,
You're right,
to
Steve.
teach them right from wrong. And I don't know how much my kids would think of me if I'm saying. So if I'm capable and I have enough understanding of my brain that I'm not going to do that to my children, how come you don't think that way?
That's why I'm here, Steve. That's why I'm here. That's what
Well,
this is supposed to be about.
You're here for what?
To get help with that.
To get help. You need help not to call your children names? What? How am I going to help you with that?
You just don't understand, Steve.
I don't understand.
You
You're
don't
admitting that you
understand.
do it.
Yeah, I have.
You know what? There's some kids dead up here, which is just, total tragedy.
Messed up.
And then the kids that are fortunate enough to get through it, they got a father that abuses them both physically and verbally and probably mentally. The fact of it is, no matter what these results are, the little boy's voice probably haunts you every day of your life. Help me, Uncle Russell. Help me, Uncle Russell. But the fact is, no matter what happens on this stage, you're just a bad guy. You're just a bad dad. That's what you are. I'll say this. I'm glad you're not my neighbor.
Facts.
Russell, you came here and we asked, did you knowingly allow your girlfriend's sister's children to remain in the house during the fire in 2005? He answered no. He answered no, and he told the truth.
Exactly. I love them kids, man. We took care of them kids, didn't we?
And now look how you're taking care of your kids now.
I don't beat my kids, man.
You bust them in the mouth.
Yeah, because he stood up, called me a son of a bitch.
How about the kid playing with the pumpkins?
He was picking them up and dropping them, picking them up and dropping them.
It's a pumpkin. But let's find out about this. Did you hit your son in the car last month with excessive force to shut him up? And he said, yeah, he did. Do you discipline your children to intentionally hurt them? And what did you answer?
No.
You said yes. You confessed. You did.
Wow. No, dude. You know
Is this a
I'll
lie?
smack them now.
Yeah, you said yes, right?
That's the one.
All right. Did you kick your son with excessive force last week? What'd you say?
No.
No. And it came back that you didn't tell the truth.
Man, this dude's a piece of shit.
You're a real tough guy, huh? Daddy's really wearing a belt. Daddy knows how to dish out discipline. Yeah, this is crazy. This whole story is crazy. Hold on. You get this miracle handed to you that you were able to save your children. And then what do? You bust them in the mouth, call them all kind of names, and kicking a 5-year-old. I wouldn't even kick a dog, and you're kicking your own child. The greatest thing about doing the show is I get answers from people, I get to expose people, and I don't have to expose you. Your own answers, the way you talk, the way you treat your wife, the way you treat your kids, you expose yourself. And I hope everybody back home from where you are sees you and just feels the same way I do. Man, I'm glad that guy's not my neighbor. Because you certainly wouldn't be kicking my doors down trying to save my kids. Get the hell off my stage.
Get the fuck off the stage. I feel bad for those moms, man.
So the two sisters that lost children in that fire, I hope it helps in some way that you know that maybe he didn't intentionally just leave your kids there. But the truth of it is, I believe when you lose a child, nothing's ever going to make you feel better. You got to go on with your life.
No, we
you
can
got to
let it go.
enjoy it. You have to take care of the kids that you do have. But I hope that you're able to go on and find comfort in your family and each other and love each other. For the two sisters, I'm going to ask you to leave the stage. Thank you for coming on. No need to sit down. Show's over. Pick a door time, right?
Pick a
And
door.
I could be wrong, and I'm sorry if I am, but I think you're going to go back. I'm just telling you. I think eventually Russell's going to come and do something, and I love you, and you're going to go back, and your kids are going to pay the price for it. But this is pick a door time, and I do like to see you're showing the world, you're showing the people back where your home is. What are you going to do? You're going to go back to Russell? Or are you walking out that door and say, you are never going to touch my kids again?
That's exactly what I'm
Well, let's see.
That's what she stuck to.